Good day, doodlers. Welcome to Draw Cartoons. The Minecraft bee is real and it's totally a thing now, and I don't know about you, but I think it's a pretty awesome addition to the game. Bees are awesome themselves, they're incredibly important for the environment, and you're about to find out how easy they can be to draw. Make sure you watch the whole video because you might learn a cool drawing trick or two as you go. As always, you'll need a pencil, paper, an eraser, and a Sharpie for this one, and a ruler as well for all those straight edges. Let's go. Let's get started. But first, if you want to learn to draw the fast and easy way, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that bell. Let's begin. You know, before we begin, one more thing that might be useful is a ruler or anything with a straight edge. So maybe a coaster or the side of your keyboard, pretty much anything will do. It's not necessary, but it's definitely helpful. So the first thing we need to draw before we draw our bee, we need to have our ruler ready. You need to draw a straight line, more or less in the center of your piece of paper. So I'm using a computer, so I can just kind of hold shift on my keyboard and click like that. So draw a straight line. That's roughly half the height of the drawing that you want to do. So leave a bit of space down here, in other words, on your page. So once you've done that, we'll carry on from here and draw a line diagonally and a little bit down to the right like this. Okay, draw a straight line at kind of that angle, so it's not completely straight across, it's going down a little bit like this. Once you've done that, we can draw another line that goes straight up and it ends a little sooner than this one does, so it's not level with this line. It's level with, you know, probably about a 4/5 of the way up that line. And then you can just get your ruler and make sure that those lines match up like that. So you end up with a square that looks like it's been kind of like pulled down on one side, or the other side's kind of stayed where it is. So once you've got that shape down, with your ruler, we're going to start here now at this corner. With your ruler, we're going to go down like this at a slightly more dramatic angle. Pretty much straight to the bottom left here, and then once you've done that, we're going to do another straight line that goes all the way down like that. Now when you do this straight line here, try and make sure that it's more or less the same height as this line and the same height as this line. Okay, if you don't, your bee's going to look a little bit wonky, but hey, it doesn't really matter, it's your drawing. You can draw your bee any way you like, and if it looks a little bit silly, well, that's cartoons for you, they always look silly. So just draw a line across here to match up with this corner here, and straight away you can kind of see this, I guess this 3D object kind of building up a little bit, can't you? So we're nearly there with this. Once we've drawn this cuboid, this kind of 3D rectangle, we can actually draw the rest. So I'm going to start from this corner again, and I'm going to come down to about here with my ruler again, and notice how that is pretty much in line with this line here. Not quite, maybe it's a little bit off in your drawing. Again, it doesn't really matter about getting it absolutely perfect, but you want to get it more or less so it's level with that line there, just as a guide. And then last step, the easiest one of all, you just kind of make sure that they match up nicely at that kind of 3-point there. So now that we've drawn this kind of box, or I guess it looks like a room really, you can imagine like a chair here in the room, but it's not that way around. This corner is coming towards us. So once you've drawn that, we can start drawing in the bee's stripes. Now what I want you to do, have a look at this shape here. We're going to cut it in half, right down the middle like this. Right down the middle. Okay? And once you've done that, we can carry on that shape more or less down the middle of the underside of our bee here. Okay, I'll just let you catch up. And now we need to draw the other side of this stripe. This is just a stripe around the bee. Just ahead of it, leave a little bit of space and then come down to about there. And again, we just need to wrap that around underneath our bee to about here. Try and make sure that that stripe is consistent in terms of how wide it is from that end to that end. If you don't, again, it will look a little bit wonky, but hey, that's the nature of cartoons, so it's not really the end of the world. So again, leave the same amount of space. We're going to start here, and I'm going to draw a line that goes straight down again, and then across like this. Now, this bit down here might become a little bit tricky, but don't worry, this is amazing practice for drawing 3D objects. So just drawing this bee is really, really good for kind of training your eye in drawing completely three-dimensional objects. It takes a lot of practice to get that kind of thing right, but this is a great place to start. So I'm going to start one more line here, and again I'm just going to go straight down. Notice that I'm leaving quite a lot of space here this time, Maybe that space is the equivalent of 2 of these stripes maybe. Okay, so starting from here, just going to wrap it around the bottom again, get to about there. Actually, I'm just going to tidy that up a little bit. There we go. Computers are very forgiving. I can make all kinds of mistakes and I can redo them. So now our bee obviously has 6 legs dangling down from the underside. Now each of these legs is positioned outside of the stripes. So the first legs, let's just draw a small line just here and another small line just here, sitting right in front of that stripe that goes underneath the body. And then once you've drawn that, we're going to start overlapping our lines a bit here. That's fine because we are only sketching at this point. We're not using a pen just yet. We are using a pencil, so it's okay if you're going over lines like that. And I just want you to draw what kind of looks like a little ticket. A very small piece of paper just kind of dangling down. Give it a slight curve if you like, the way that I have, just to make it look like those legs are a little floppy and 2D. Okay, so now there's another leg, another pair of legs I should say, right behind that. And if you can continue to kind of visualize this as best you can as a 3D object, it becomes easier to see. If I just draw a dotted line just to show you what I'm talking about, so I'm going to draw a dotted line to that corner and then I'm going to carry on to that corner. And can you see how it looks like it really is just kind of like lined up nicely underneath the bee? So let me just get rid of those dotted lines. I don't really need those anymore to get them out of the way. So again, we're going to draw another one of those tickets just kind of dangling down, not too long, not too short. They are quite short legs actually. If you want your bee to have really, really long legs, you go right ahead and do that. You make your own bee. But the official Minecraft bee, the legs are very, very tiny, so I'm going to stick to drawing it that way. So one more pair of legs. This time just a line here and a line here in that yellow part of the stripes. And again, just going to draw them kind of lazily dangling down. Maybe this bee is all full of nectar and it's on its way back to the hive. So its legs are just kind of dangling down like, oh, I couldn't have another bite. Okay, so now we can move on to the face. Now just above halfway up this square here, so that, say this is about halfway, just above that, I'm going to start drawing a line across, and I'm not going to go too far in. This is probably, I'm actually going to do it about there. So I'd say this is probably about 1/3 of the way across the face. So it's not all the way to the middle, just about to here. Once you've done that, draw a line that goes straight down, but not all the way to the bottom. Leave a bit of space, and then close it off at the end here. Now we need to do that again on the other side. So about here, if it helps you, you might want to get your ruler and just kind of make sure that those match up. I'm going to draw a dotted line just to show you how they're going to be level. If your bee ends up with one eye higher than the other, well, you've just got an interesting looking bee. So a line that cuts across like that, straight down. I've done that a little bit wonky. There we go, straight down, and then back to the side of the head. Now each of these eyes has like a blue shine, or I guess maybe it's a pupil, just kind of hanging in this corner here. So to do that, just going to cut this in half, go to about the midpoint of this eye, or maybe a little bit higher actually, not quite the middle. Going to go to about here, and then just draw it across to the edge there. This eye obviously has the same thing going on, so we'll just draw a little bit of blue shine there. So I'm going to colour that in a bright blue later on. And now above these, you obviously need the bee's antennae. So we're going to draw a box sitting right above the eye. So a very small box like this, and try and keep those angles of the corners of the square consistent with the shape of this big square here. So it's, again, it looks like a square that's been kind of pulled down. So I'll just show you that again on the other side. The start of the antennae is lined up with the very, very edge of the eye, if you can see that. Again, I'll just draw another line just to show you. So that should kind of match up, and that should kind of match up there. So much like the legs, we've got these kind of wispy antennae kind of coming away from these starting points. So to do that, we're going to draw, we have to try and visualize these as coming off the face, just kind of coming away. So if I start on this corner, I'm going to draw a small line straight up, and then all the way across like this. I am kind of ignoring my original sketch because I feel like I might have done it a little bit wrong. So once you've drawn a nice long line across like that, it's going to be the full length of the antennae. Start back here, and we're going to draw another angled line up and closing off about 1/3 of the way up the antennae that we just drew. And then carry it on through all the way to the end of the antennae, and then down like that. Okay, bit of a tricky shape because it kind of seems to swap over here in this bit here, but that's the nature of pixel graphics for you. You often get these very hard edges going on. So let's do that on the other eye now, or the other antennae rather. So another box, got that kind of crazy diagonal angle going on, flicks up like that. I've drawn my square straight away, but really at this point you could just kind of go all the way across and draw the end of the antennae before you draw the box. And just using my ruler, my virtual ruler, my ruler that doesn't really exist, to just kind of draw these straight lines in and get this antennae look going on. So now the last thing, really, the last important feature of drawing our bee is the wings. And the wings are here, and from the angle we're looking at our bee, we're only going to be able to see this wing. The wing on this side of its body is kind of hidden by the face. So we're only going to worry about this one right now. So again, with your ruler, you're going to want to start about here before the stripes start. And you want to come away from the body, about there. And then we're going to go across about the same length that we just did. And then we're going to go up more or less the same length that we did. And now when you get to this point, we're going to go across about twice as far as we have already. So you can kind of see how long that is, and that is. They're all kind of the same length as each other, but this one is as long as two of those. So once you get to there, just to kind of avoid confusion, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So we can actually start here now, just kind of part way into this stripe. If I start here, if I draw up to about here, so I'm about halfway through this line that I drew. You see that? That's what I'm going to draw next. So just to demonstrate, starting from this corner here, get my ruler, and I'm just going to draw, pardon me, a straight line across to there. Once you've drawn that, you can draw another line up here, one of those shorter lines that we drew earlier, and you can see this kind of pixel pattern building up. Okay, we've got one pixel here, and now that we're here at the top of the wing, we can draw all the way to the well, sorry, not quite all the way to the end. We're going to draw about 2/3 of the way to the end, about here. Now the reason why we're not going to go all the way is because in the official artwork there isn't actually a pixel here. So from here we can actually draw a really, really long line, just like we did at the top, that goes almost to the B. Almost, not quite. It stops about here. So once you've drawn that, we can draw this pair of pixels that's going to go here. So I can start at this corner, get my ruler out, bring it down so it's level with the line that I just drew, and then bring it across, just like that. So we've only got this last little bit of the wings to go. So there's another kind of pixel here, so I'm going to carry this on to about there, just a short line, and then down to the body. And there's another one here that just kind of sits into the back like that. You might be able to see a little bit more of the wing here if you want to do this. This is optional, but a bit advanced to those of you who want to have a look at the angle of things. So another straight line that just comes up a little bit like this, and then sits on the back. Maybe you wouldn't be able to see that in the actual perspective that the bee is drawn from, but I'm just going to draw that there because I want it to be there. And then finally, there's this bit of a wing in the middle, in this kind of spot here, joining this corner and joining this corner. So I'm going to show you what I mean. So starting here, I'm going to draw a straight line across, keeping that angle consistent with the perspective that I've chosen for this drawing. And then from this corner, just going to kind of make sure that matches up there, across, and back up to that corner there. I'm actually going to fix that real quick. I've drawn that wrong. Did it a little bit too quickly. You take your time. Don't rush any part of this drawing. And well, speaking of drawing, I'd say we've actually finished our sketch of our bee. So you can keep your ruler out, but put your pencil away. Get your Sharpie out, and go over all the lines you want to keep. So there's a lot of lines here that we don't want to keep. We don't want to keep this one here, for example. We can get rid of that. That's just a guideline. Anything behind the legs, that can all go. All that stuff. Just going to erase that on mine real quick just to kind of show you what I mean. But everything else I think is a keeper. So yeah, go over it with a Sharpie. If you've got some colouring pencils, go ahead and colour it, and you'll end up with your own awesome drawing of the brand new Minecraft bee. Go carefully over your sketch with your Sharpie. This is a great time to check for any last mistakes in the sketch as you go, and fix them before you finish your drawing. And there you go, your very own super awesome Minecraft bee. By the way, make sure you head over to my Discord channel. You can share your artwork and your Minecraft creations and stories anytime you like. Hit the link in the description below to join the Discord and start sharing right away. Remember to like and subscribe for more tutorials. Until next time.